The Valari Dominion ship, Vos Karen, drifted quietly through the cold edge of the galaxy. It was a large vessel made of black alloy that shimmered like glass under the faint light of a dying star. The crew had grown used to silence out there, so far from any major route. Most days there was nothing but dust, radiation, and the lonely hum of the engines. Commander Lyra Cattle sat in the central chair, her 4 eyes fixed on the wide screen ahead. Her voice was calm, sharp, and steady. "Report, any signs of activity?" Her science officer, Tarek Vun, looked down at the sensors and frowned. "Nothing alive, Commander. But there is something strange. Large metallic readings near the red dwarf." Lyra leaned forward. "Another Valari beacon?" Tarek shook his head slowly. "No, Commander. It's old, very old. The alloy does not match any known database." A small laugh came from the navigation pit. "Probably another broken human relic. They used to throw junk all over this sector before they vanished," said Ensign Mira. The crew chuckled softly. Humans were long gone, or so everyone believed. Their ruins floated across forgotten corners of the galaxy like ghosts from a lost age. Lyra smiled faintly. "Let's see this junk, then. Bring us closer." The Vos Karen turned slowly, its engines humming deeper. On the screen, the red star grew brighter, and soon something dark appeared, an object large enough to block part of the light. The ship rotated to reveal it fully. It was massive, shaped like a long spear with broken fins, and it drifted with a slow, steady spin. The hull was scarred, blackened, and covered in dust from centuries of silence. Tarek adjusted the scanner and zoomed in. His voice dropped. "Commander, this is no station. It's a warship." Lyra raised a brow. "A human warship?" "Yes. The markings are faded, but I can make out the letters. HSS Valiant." For a moment, no one spoke. Everyone had heard the stories. Human warships were built for destruction on a scale no one used anymore. The Dominion had found wrecks before, but never one this intact. Lyra crossed her arms. "Power levels?" "None," Tarek replied. "It's completely cold. No energy signatures, no movement, no life. It's just floating there." "Then let's scan it," Lyra said. Tarek hesitated. "Commander, maybe we should not. These human ships use strange codes. Some of their machines react badly when disturbed." Lyra smiled with quiet confidence. "You think it's haunted?" "It's a dead ship, Officer Vun. Do your job." He nodded, though uneasily, and turned to his console. The Valari scanners sent out thin blue waves of energy, spreading like ripples through the dark. They touched the Valiant's hull, mapping every curve and shadow. For several seconds, everything was silent. Then the readings began to come in. Tarek frowned again. "Strange. The data is light-changing. The hull's composition keeps shifting. It's not stable." "Explain," Lyra said. "It's like the metal is rewriting itself. Every time the scanner takes a picture, the surface changes slightly." Mira laughed. "Maybe it's shy." Before Lyra could reply, the lights on the bridge flickered. A low hum passed through the air, deep and rhythmic, like the sound of a giant heart beating under the floor. The screens glitched, and for a second, static filled the command display. "What was that?" Lyra demanded. Tarek's fingers danced across the console. "I don't know." The ship responded to our scan. Something inside it just turned on. The hum grew louder. The crew could feel it in their bones. The sensors began to flash random numbers, and all their readings turned red. "Cut the scan." Lyra shouted. "I'm trying," Tarek said, panic in his voice. "The system won't respond. The ship is sending data back into our array." "What kind of data?" "Code, unknown format, but it looks like it's trying to connect to us." The communication officer raised her head suddenly. "Commander, there's a signal coming through. It's on a very old human frequency." Lyra frowned. "Play it." The bridge speakers crackled. At first, only static filled the room. Then a deep, distorted voice spoke in a language that the translator instantly recognized as English. The tone was cold and mechanical. "Unauthorized scan detected. System intrusion logged. Retaliation protocol pending." The Valari crew froze. Even though none of them understood English, the computer's translation echoed clearly in their heads. "Retaliation protocol." Lyra tried to laugh, but her voice sounded thin. "A threat? From a ship that's been dead for centuries?" The lights flickered again, brighter this time. The hum turned into a pulse, steady and strong. Every system on the Vos Karen began to reset itself. The crew watched as their main console was overwritten by a string of human code. Tarek shouted, "It's hacking us. It's rewriting our command system." "Shut it down." Lyra barked, "I can't." It's inside the core network, one of the pilots screamed as his control screen turned black. The engines died and the ship started to drift. On the main screen, the Valiant began to move, slowly at first, like a beast waking from a long sleep. Its dark hull lit up with faint red lines that glowed from bow to stern. The ancient ship, silent for hundreds of years, came alive again. Panels along its sides opened like eyelids. Deep inside, power reactors rumbled to life. Tarek whispered, "This is impossible. There's no way that ship should have power left." "Impossible or not, it's awake," Lyra said, her eyes fixed on the screen. The communication officer gasped. "Commander, the ship is targeting us. Defensive shields up." "They're not responding." "The systems are still rebooting." The red glow from the human warship brightened until it looked like liquid fire running through veins of steel. Then, without warning, a pulse of energy exploded from its core. The waves slammed into the Valari ship, shaking it violently. Every light went out. For a few seconds, they were floating in total darkness. Emergency lights flicked on. Alarms blared. "What happened?" Lyra shouted. Tarek stared at his monitor, which flickered weakly. It wasn't a weapon. It was an electromagnetic pulse. "It disabled everything, our engines, our shields, our communication. Can we restart?" "No. The systems are fried." The red glow outside faded, but the Valiant did not go back to sleep. Instead, a line of dim lights appeared along its hull, leading toward what looked like large hangar doors, Mira whispered. "Commander, I think something is opening." The hangar doors slowly parted, revealing rows upon rows of smaller objects inside. They looked like small ships or drones, each one dormant but slowly beginning to power up. Tarek's voice trembled. "We triggered it. That scan, it thought we were attacking." Lyra turned to the crew. "Everyone, prepare for possible contact. Maybe we can communicate before it fires." The translator picked up another signal. The same cold voice returned. "Retaliation protocol, active." Outside, the drones detached from the Valiant's hull. They drifted out like a swarm of silent shadows, forming a perfect formation in space. Their lights blinked once in unison. "Commander," the communications officer said softly. "They are scanning us." Lyra clenched her fists. "Send a message. Tell them we meant no harm. Tell them we are explorers." The voice returned again, calm and final. "Explorers do not violate human sovereign space." Lyra's eyes widened. "Sovereign space? But this region is unclaimed. Humans left long ago," Tarek whispered. "Maybe they didn't." The hum from the Valiant grew deeper. The sound seemed to echo even inside their bones. Every crew member felt something strange, a pressure, like the weight of unseen eyes watching them. The ship's sensors went completely dark. Then a single message appeared on the main screen in bright red letters. "Stand down or be neutralized." Lyra swallowed hard. "Power down everything. Show them we are not a threat." One by one, the systems went silent. The bridge fell quiet except for the faint breathing of the crew. For several long seconds, nothing happened. The Valiant floated in place, its drones holding position. Then slowly, the drones turned away and returned to the hangar. The red lights dimmed again. The warship fell silent once more. The Valari crew sat in shock. No one spoke. Only the weak hum of the dying systems filled the air. Tarek finally broke the silence. "Commander, I think it warned us." Lyra looked at the dark screen, her voice low. "No, Officer Vaughn, that wasn't a warning. That was a reminder." She stood and walked to the window. The giant warship drifted calmly against the red star, ancient and alive. She could feel it still watching them. "Set course away from here," she said quietly. "And mark this system as forbidden." Tarek nodded. "What do we tell the Dominion?" Lyra turned her eyes to the sleeping ship on the screen. "Tell them the truth. Tell them that humans are not as extinct as we thought." The Vos Karen turned slowly, leaving the silent warship behind. But as it moved away, the sensors picked up a faint signal. It was coming from the Valiant, repeating every few seconds in that same cold human voice. "Unauthorized scan detected. System intrusion logged. Retaliation protocol complete. Monitoring active." The Valari crew watched until the signal faded. None of them noticed that deep within the Valiant, lights flickered again. A small module began to transmit on an old human frequency, sending a message far across the stars. "Guardian unit online. Awaiting command." And somewhere in the endless dark, another warship stirred. The ship Vos Karen drifted through the empty space, powerless and silent. Every screen was dark, every light dim. The crew moved carefully through the corridors, afraid to speak too loud. as if their voices might wake the sleeping monster again. The human warship, the HSS Valiant, hung nearby like a giant shadow, its red lights glowing faintly against the dying star. Commander Lyra Cattell stood in the command room, watching the dark shape on the main screen. Her jaw was tight, her hand steady, but her eyes showed the fear she refused to admit. Around her, the crew worked quietly, trying to restore power to the engines. The air felt heavy, filled with tension and the faint smell of burned circuits. "How long until we can move?" Lyra asked, her voice low. Tarek Vun, the science officer, looked up from his console. "I am not sure, Commander. The pulse burned through half our systems. The core still needs to be rebuilt. We are trapped until we get it working again." Lyra nodded. "Then work faster. I want us out of this system before that thing decides to change its mind." "Yes, Commander," Tarek said, but his hands moved slower than his words. He was watching the readings on his half-broken screen. Something strange was still happening. The Valiant's signal was not gone. It was inside their own system, hiding deep in the code. "Commander," he said carefully, "I think it left something in our system." Lyra turned to him. "What do you mean?" "When it attacked us, it did not only disable our ship, it also connected. Look here." He showed her the lines of old human code running through the ship's computer. "It's like a parasite. It is rewriting our operating system. Can you remove it?" Tarek shook his head. "No. Every time I delete it, it comes back. It's learning how our systems work. It is watching us." The crew fell quiet again. No one liked the thought of being watched by an old warship that could destroy them in a second. Lyra looked at the red shape of the Valiant on the screen. "What do you want from us?" she whispered. No answer came, but the hum that had filled their ship before seemed to echo faintly again. It was slow, soft, like breathing. The Valiant wasn't just a ship. It was alive in some strange way. "Commander," said the communication officer, a young Valari named Rin. "The human signal is changing. It's not threatening anymore. It's sending something new. Show me." On the main screen, lines of data scrolled quickly. The translator turned it into words. It was a log message repeated again and again. "Human defense system operational. Guardian protocol online. Scanning local sector." Tarek frowned. "Guardian protocol? It's not attacking us anymore. It's searching for something." Lyra's voice softened. "Searching for what?" "I don't know," he said, but his voice trembled. "Maybe for humans." The thought made everyone pause. Humans were gone. Vanished from the galaxy centuries ago, or at least that was what everyone had been told. No one had seen one in generations. Rin looked at Lyra. "Commander, what if they're still alive?" Lyra stared at the screen for a long time. "If they are, then this ship is protecting them. And we just woke up their guardian." A low alarm beeped softly. The radar lit up with new signals. The crew rushed to their stations, fear spreading through the room again. "Multiple contacts," Rin said. "Small units. Hundreds of them." On the screen, the drones that had returned to the Valiant's hangar began to rise again. One by one, they floated out and surrounded the alien ship like a cloud of metallic insects. Their red eyes glowed faintly. "Are they attacking?" Lyra asked. "No," Tarek said, studying the readings. "They are scanning us again." The lights flickered as the Valari ship was bathed in invisible waves of energy. The drones circled, silent and slow. It felt like being inspected by predators who were deciding if their prey was worth killing. Suddenly, one of the drones broke formation. It moved closer, stopping only a few meters from the hull. Its lights blinked faster. Then a beam of soft blue light passed through the metal, entering the ship. "It's inside the hull," Rin shouted. "It's scanning the crew compartments." Tarek tried to block it, typing quickly, but the systems refused his commands. "It's reading our DNA signatures," he said. "It's checking who we are." "Why?" Lyra asked. He swallowed. "To see if we are human." The beam stopped. The drone hovered for a moment longer, then drifted back to the formation. All the other drones moved away at the same time, returning to their positions around the Valiant. The red lights along the warship's surface grew brighter again. Rin said quietly, "Commander, I think it knows we are not human." The ship's comms came alive again with that same deep mechanical voice. "Non-human signatures detected. Access restricted. Retaliation suspended. Surveillance engaged." The translation appeared on the screen as the crew listened in silence. It's not going to destroy us, Tarek said. Not yet, Lyra took a deep breath. Good. That means we still have time to get out. But before she could speak again, the Valiant's engines roared to life. The entire alien ship trembled from the shockwave. Massive thrusters glowed red, and the ancient warship began to move for the first time in centuries. Where is it going? Lyra shouted. Rin tracked the movement. It's heading away from the star, toward deep space. It's transmitting something. Transmitting to who? Tarek stared at the data, his eyes wide. It's broadcasting a signal across multiple systems. Long-range communication? The message is repeating. What message? He read it aloud. Guardian network online. All units awaken. The bridge went silent again. The sound of those words made everyone cold. The Valiant wasn't alone. There were more of them. Maybe hundreds, maybe thousands, hidden somewhere in the dark, waiting for this signal. Commander, Rin whispered. What have we done? Lyra didn't answer. She watched as the great warship accelerated and vanished into the darkness, leaving behind a faint trail of red light. The drones followed, moving like a cloud of fireflies into the endless void. Within minutes, the Valiant was gone. The Valari ship floated alone once more, its engines still broken, its crew shaken. Tarek turned to Lyra. We have to warn the Dominion. If there are more of those ships, I know, Lyra said softly. But first we need to survive this. She ordered the engineers to restart the core. Hours passed. The red star grew dimmer as time moved on. Finally, power returned in weak pulses. The engines hummed softly again. The crew cheered quietly, their relief mixed with fear. Set a course back to the nearest relay, Lyra said. We'll send a full report. As they moved away from the system, Tarek kept one eye on the rear sensors. The strange signal still echoed faintly, repeating from far behind them. He could feel the message crawling through space, spreading to every corner of the galaxy. Later, when the crew tried to rest, most couldn't sleep. The image of the Valiant stayed in their minds. The red lights, the deep voice, the perfect control. It wasn't a simple machine. It was something built for war and never told to stop. In the command room, Lyra stood alone, staring at the star map. She traced the area where they had found the ship. It was a dead zone, a place no one had ever charted properly. Now she understood why. Maybe humans had planned this. Maybe they had left behind a defense so powerful that even after they disappeared, no one would dare to enter their space again. Tarek entered quietly. Commander, I think I found something else. What is it? He handed her a tablet. The code that infected our system, it's gone. Gone? How? I didn't delete it. It deleted itself. But before it vanished, it left one line of text. He turned the screen toward her. It showed a single sentence written in the ancient human language. We remember. Lyra stared at the words for a long time. Do you think it means the ship remembers its mission? Tarek shook his head. No, Commander. I think it means the humans remember us. The thought sent a chill through both of them. If the humans were still alive somewhere out there, they would know now that aliens had crossed their border, and if those guardians were truly awake, then the balance of power across the galaxy was about to change forever. The ship continued its slow journey toward friendly space. The crew spoke little. Some whispered prayers. Others stared at the stars, wondering how many more sleeping warships were out there. In the dark corners of space, far from their view, signals began to appear. Short bursts of old human code, waking other machines long forgotten. Across dozens of systems, ancient reactors came online. Hidden bases flickered with light. Cold metal giants opened their eyes after centuries of silence. And in the center of that awakening, the Valiant moved through the void, leading the call. It spoke again in its deep, cold voice, sending the message across the stars. Guardian Unit 1 active. Human Defense Network restored. Awaiting further command. The stars remained silent, but the machines listened. Back aboard the Vos Karen, Lyra Cattle closed her eyes. Let's hope, she said softly. Whoever commands them is long gone. But deep down, she wasn't sure. The humans had disappeared, but their machines hadn't. And if those machines were awake, then maybe, just maybe, humanity was too.